Well, my name is Tanya James.
And I'm Lamont James.
In June, we'll be married 30 years.
I'm Mason Arkwright.
Sheila Arkwright, and we have been married for a year and a half.
Yes.
James and Asha Cleveland. We've been married for just a little over a month.
I'm Warren Burrell. My wife Vivian. We've been married 31 years. September will be 32.
Hey, where do you see Yami and Tia?
Let me say, I ironed this out last night.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I did.
Did you really?
A lot on Kill Tiller.
I guess that was like one of the main lessons where I learned that I'm not God, right? We just thought that, all right, I want my 5 kids, he's gonna give me my 5 kids, right? So no, we had to wait 12 years before we had our son, so, and then that's all we had, were blessed with, so, and thankful for it.
Yeah, that was a time when I had to still learn how to let go of the planned life.
Yeah.
And embrace the created life. I'm from a family of 10. Everybody in my family had babies, everybody. And when I recognized that it was difficulty with me having children, in the beginning, it was like, yeah, you and your 5 kids, whatever. I'm gonna do 1, maybe 2. But then when I start to recognize that I had problems having children, once again, you realize you make your plans, you get God's best sense of humor, and we realized just how much we wanted that, and it was a very difficult period. We went through fertility, and that was really one of probably our strongest moments together as a couple, because I still, as much as it was painful, he had to give me shots. That was the most hilarious thing in the world. He was sweating bullets most times. I mean, it was hilarious, but when you get it, and that's probably why you hear me always say I held on so tightly, because we went through the miscarriages, we went through the pain and the hopes, watching someone else get pregnant who didn't want to be pregnant. It was a very rough time, and so we maximized it. When Jeff came, he had another play toy, so it was a blessing. A blessing.
I had been waiting on that joke a long time, so when he came, it was on.
My kids are everything to me. So I feel they will run to her when they want to get over on something. For instance, I had a son, my oldest son wanted to, he was an athlete. And,
You said had a son.
Well, he's old now. We're talking about when he was younger.
Oh, okay.
When he was younger.
Okay.
Let's put it like that. When he was younger, now he's grown but man.
Okay.
But when he was younger, he wanted to play football, and I told him with football came track. So I had him in the track program, and when it got a little hard, he ran to his mother. Mom, I want to do this. But then they got it. I'm like, okay. High school came around. That same son said, Dad, I should have stayed in track. I should have kept doing it. I tried to tell you, but you didn't want to listen at the time, and you want to run to your mother because your mother can get you out of the situation. Because I'm not going to fight with you, I'm just going to let you know this is your option. If you want this to be your life, you have to do A to get to B to get to C, and there's no skipping B to get to C. So, it goes really both ways, and she can be firm with him. And
don't forget to enjoy and count your blessings, because that's a good season. No kids and money and time, and it'll come, if you have to go other means of adoption, whatever, go for it.
Also, Joe, I think though, because I was distraught. I went to a level of depression and, all of the things that a woman feels when, like I said, I was fine until the doctor said, you're having problems. And all of a sudden, my self-worth came into play. My value as a woman came into play. So what I would say is really what I just said. Recognize that there is your planned life and God's created life. Don't take your eyes off God, because what you have planned, He has greater. And it wasn't the number. It wasn't anything that He was trying to show me. I think what He was we just planned everything out. We had bought a house, a 4-bedroom house. I mean, why? The thing that I would say is focus on God. What would He have you to do? At that point, I had been licensed as a minister, and I still was not hearing God, but was trying to produce what I thought I was supposed to do as a godly woman. So my focus was messed up, and until I got my focus and just set my face like flint, it didn't open up, if that makes sense.
I'm firm. I was firm with the boys. We had to be, because the boys were kind of bad. Boys are kind of bad.
Yeah. An honest story about the boys is when we grew up in Union, it was like every African American son who went to this certain grade school, the teachers didn't know how to deal with them, so they always wanted them to go. They said something was wrong. They was too hyper.
Yeah.
And it's funny, we took them to the doctor because we didn't want to go through the school system. And when we took them to the doctor, said there ain't nothing wrong with that boy. That's an average kid. But what that school system tried to do is get them in the system and label them. And we stopped that by doing it on our own, and not just letting that school tell us what was wrong or something was wrong with our son. When we knew there was nothing wrong, but they didn't know how to deal with African American kid. And we learned because we was fresh parents, and you learn.
We still always set aside time for us. And there were also times like anniversary dinner, sometimes even Valentine's Day, we had to have the kids there with us. So we just incorporated it. We didn't have a choice sometimes. But
because every Valentine's is celebrated by my wife and my daughter.
yeah,
So
she's got her spoiled. She's expecting these things now for Valentine's Day.
she should expect it because she's
She
my daughter.
should.
And
But you kind of go overboard.
there's no overboard. It really isn't.
So what you're saying is he's in the palm of her hand.
Yes.
Right there, right.
Yeah.
And another funny thing is with our boys, when you grow up, when they grow up and you driving along and you see the little stickers on the cars, my kid in the honor roll.
God.
You see these on people's cars, and we used to tell the boys and look at them like, we ain't gonna never have that. That's not my future. But when our girl came and gave us that,
They don't like that now,
it's
too.
the best thing ever. Well, I throw that in their face in a
He
heartbeat.
keeps doing it. They don't like
and
that.
it's funny, my oldest son would say, well, Dad, I could always got you one. And that's his mentality. He would have took it from another kid to get it. But, to get it honestly from my daughter is very special because we always, as me and her, we always talked about
We
that.
never have an honor roll.
Kid. And we got one, and it's so special, and it's just the best. It really truly is.
Talk about discipline. Talk about discipline. Talk about what you were raised with. Oh my God. So it was jubilation. It was jubilation. First of all, his thought was, like he said, not at 2 years old, but you're not going back to work. my baby's not going into a daycare. I'm thinking, oh my God. Yeah. So talk about those basic things, discipline. He wanted 5 kids. Dude hadn't been around a kid.
Yeah, I was from a small family, and I wanted to have a house. It was just chaotic.
He didn't know how to change a diaper. Poop terrified him. You know, so for about what?
3 months.
About
Just
3 months.
That's just 3 months.
3 months. If he said, he was in terror. Come and get him. So it was a real difficult period at that time. But none that I wasn't happy to take in stride. But I think you should talk about your capabilities as a parent, right? What are your roles as a parent? I was more than happy to do it, but because I had lost, because once again my trust wasn't what it needed to be, I held on so tight. I was again depressed and stressed more than I could enjoy that first 6 months. Really, really hard, but definitely talk about what it is to bring an infant into the house. It's regardless of if the woman or man is going back to work, it's double duty. It is not just because you don't get up at night. That's both should get up, right? I just know that sometimes we as women take on more and we don't allow ourselves to have the self-care that we need during those early times.
So in that time, because I know I experienced the same thing with my firstborn, the depression after having a baby, how did you find your way through? What resources or what helped to bring you through that time?
For me, with no family in Michigan, that's when I think this is my baby came, to birth. Yes, Warren played with him, he loved him, but it was my baby. So my life was Jeff. It was Jeff. Everything else was second. He was my life, and a lot of lessons came out of that. I connected with him on a level of, this is my goal to make great. It was just different. I can't even tell you the kind of, and it makes me emotional because I just wanted to be everything for him. That's crazy, I know, but it just shifted in a way that, yeah, I wanted to be everything that I didn't. And even though Warren is absolutely one of the best fathers I ever known, to hear him say something loud to Jeff in a loud voice, or I had to leave the room because it's like, no, he's not about to hit my baby. No, I could, but he couldn't. So it's different.
I don't know, man. My wife, she said, don't get it twisted. I'm the soft one in the family. My son get away with murder with me, and God knew better than to give me a daughter. I think, I had good boundaries with my son, and he probably got away with murder with me as well, but I just showed him how to work hard, and I was there for him, and it was just along the way, man. I was always present. I couldn't wait to get home. This whole 19 years of being in the house, I wanted to give him everything I had, and I tried to do that. I maximized the whole season of raising him. So I have no regrets at all. I think I gave him everything I could in terms of supporting him, encouraging him, talking to him. any shortcoming I thought I might have, I did extra to pour into him so he wouldn't have that shortcoming, and get him the greatest exposure I could in every area, you know. So,
But at the same token, to answer your question, he would say, Prince, this is your food here. He would definitely set the boundaries and let me know, yeah, you know you're treating him like he's the man of the house. When he was born, of course, I wanted him, he slept on the side of the bed, but when he was sick, I wanted him to sleep with me. He ain't sleeping in my bed. He already done took over the whole house. He not sleeping in my bed. So those were some of the things. He didn't sit it down because I think he knew about, okay, don't do that. But he would do his little digs, like Prince Jeff, this is yours.
So with the sleeping in the bed, a wise man that was at my job told me, hey, like, a young man, don't make the mistake of letting that little boy get in your bed. I don't care. Start out from the very beginning. He stay in his crib wherever he's in his bed. Cause if he ever takes your bed, he'll never get him out.
I was so mad. I was so to the point that I slept in his bed.
I did listen to my elder son.
The boys to me were easier. This girl right here, this is a struggle. Not like attitude, nasty, fresh, none of that. Just whole different dynamic with the hormones, and it's different. It's different.
Yeah. And she's super smart.
Yeah.
Yes.
That don't help.
Yes.
That don't help.
Sometimes these questions.
I'm right behind
It's
you.
like, oh, okay.
Yes.
Like, she's teaching me stuff she's learning in school, and I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, well, I don't remember that. I don't remember that. I don't remember that stuff.
Yeah, but with the boys, it was simple. It's a look. I could look at them, and you know, I had them where I want them. They was trained well. You know.
You still have that look with Nia.
Yeah, but
You don't have to do it.
I don't have to do nothing with these kids, but it's a beautiful thing just to know. And she know I would never ever put my hands on her. You know,
I don't think she's ever had a spanking.
But you know, I would give her that look, and she would break down just off the look. But that's, I mean, you know, that's being a parent. It's different parenting. I mean, when we grew up, we got whoopings.
Yes.
Yes,
You know?
you did. I didn't have many though. I will say that.
And these timeout kids are just little, they don't get it, you know? These timeout kids are much different. But that's a whole nother subject.
A lot of patience, a lot stuff you may want to say, you gotta just hold it back. And I gotta like really think about what I want to say before I talk to her. She's so sensitive, and it's just different. Like I tell him, like he jokes a lot, and he doesn't realize sometimes she takes that stuff a different way, you know. So I have to talk to her and explain to her, you know, he's joking, but it's just, I don't know, I guess patience and research. Like I do a lot of reading, you know, with girls, and just understanding the whole hormonal changes that they're going through. And I talk to her a lot, like just the whole girl thing and the body changes, and I drill that stuff into her. It still don't do anything. Like did you clean your face today? Because you know she's struggling with the acne. It's a struggle. Advice, I don't know. Patience, I don't know. It's hard.
And I would say patience too, and just being there. You know, sometimes they need to talk to you, and sometimes they need to talk to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's your turn, you can't judge. Judgment is, you know, you just have to listen and understand that you can give your advice, but you can't judge them for what they do, because It's different times.
God got a sense of humor, and it's not funny. 2019 guys are 18 or 19, the beginning of 19. You can feel your child. And one thing that you guys said, how do you set precedent? Jeff was one of those that people, like I held close. But my son, and I said, he's a man's man. He won't let you hold him close so much. Behind closed doors, we good. He has to be that person. But once he started to play football and recognized he loved it and he left, I could feel again. And I know you're gonna say, were you happy much? I was happy, but my heart broke when Jeff went to school. Like, I was happy, but I was absolutely in a space of trying to figure out, because the thing we did, and I say we, his social life, his calendar, his sports, it became our social life. And so we didn't have a life. We kind of disappeared into his life, right? I remember we would go on vacations, and Warren would say, we need to go maybe 2 or 3 days on our own. I'm like, no, I feel bad. Jeff will miss us. And I just couldn't do that. I didn't want to do that. So when it got time for him to leave, I could feel, and I wrote him a letter, of course, and gave him a booklet that I had made for him. But I recognized, for me, I had operated really out of order for a very long period of time.
And go back to your prior question too, though, Taryn, about preparing him. My mom did an outstanding job of, like, look, I got you for a season. You got to learn how to be on your own, and that was something that was ingrained in me. You know, I always tried to, teach him things with the mindset, man, look, you're gonna have to take care of your own family. So learn these things, no question about, learning how to drive, and no question about how to manage money. You gotta work hard. I got a house and a wife to take care of, and when you're gonna have, that when your season comes, you're gonna be the man. You gotta take care of it when things break, when, money's got to come from somewhere. You got to figure it out. So that was, and him going to college it felt right. It's like what we worked hard for. If he stayed at the house, that would have been out of order.
Yeah.
So I was at a good spot. I'm like, okay, new season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say patience, your listening skills, and just being there. Because with the whole COVID thing, we're all home. Well, I'm home. She's doing school from home. And at first, I was in the basement. So she was on the main floor by herself. So I ended up moving upstairs. So I'm on the same floor with her. And I think it has made a huge difference with her, just her well-being. Just having me there. When she gets her break, she'll come and chit-chat with me, and vice versa. It's made a big difference. Just being there.
It's hard for us. I feel so like an imposter and a fake when I say it, but your husband is first. Your children are second, and it's just not how I operated. And it's very hard. You have to be intentional to go out with your husband, to please your husband. It is your relationship, and then you're the parent of another being. You're parents to this being, but you are in relationship with your husband.